Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today's pick a card, we're going to be looking at what hidden knowledge, what hidden secret is about to be revealed. Now, this could be very spiritual. There actually will be a fairly strong aspect on the spirituality side of this, so hidden knowledge that you might access through dreams, meditation, study, whatever it might be. But we'll also look at the material because many people say that they enjoy the readings that I do when sort of there's a secret or something like that being revealed. So we'll look at it at both levels as we go through. But that's basically what this reading is about. It's about what kind of knowledge might come to you, what kind of secret may be revealed to you, and really what uncovering this will bring for you as well too, and the type of kind of magical and everyday energy and approach that is associated with it. So that's what we're going to look at. So kind of like the secret reveal types of ones I do, but with a little bit more of a slant on the spiritual in this particular one. So bear that in mind. Really all we need to do is do the pole choice. What I have done here is I'm using 3 different tarot decks for the different readings, so that may help you choose. And I shuffled and said to Spirit the first major arcana I dealt out would be the choice card and would tell us something about the nature of the secret. So that may help you choose. But if you always go to pile 2, go to pile 2. If you feel drawn to more than one, this is definitely one of those sort of readings where there could be a couple of secrets. There could be a secret for you in every single one. So you do you, like whatever you decide to do. But to help with the choice, pile number 1 has the Hanged Man from the Golden Dream Tarot. Pile number 2 has the Justice card from the Gothic Dawn Tarot. And pile number 3 has the Fool card from the... My mind is just... Oh, the Nightshade Tarot. I don't know why. Sorry about that. I suddenly lost the name of the tarot. It's one of my favourite tarots since I got it. But yeah, from the Nightshade Tarot. So hopefully that will help with the choice. When you do know what reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Hanged Man from the Golden Dawn Tarot. The Golden Dream Tarot, sorry, the Golden Dream Tarot. And that's interesting. I said the Golden Dawn. That, as I say, there's a very kind of magical thing around these particular readings. So that's probably why I had that slip of the tongue. But you came to the Hanged Man. To me, the Hanged Man means very spiritual sort of approaches to things. It's also when things have got stuck or where you felt a sacrifice was necessary. So it may be that the secret that is being revealed to you, both spiritually and materially, is the sacrifice or the balance of something to bring about something that you want. It may also be a very spiritual new perspective that comes through, because the Hangman can be about that, shaking out the old and bringing in the new. Either of those would fit with this, both spiritually and materially. We have some astrology cards just to get a bit of a sense about where is this landing in your life. And it's interesting because one of the things that I felt when I looked at this is if I had come to this as a pick a card from somebody else and I saw this, I thought, yeah, this would be very, very true of my life. In one particular way, which is that I love to do creative things. I love to write. I love to sing. I love to do a range of different things like that. But it's never really been the life purpose for me, I don't think, because my son is in the 6th house. So it's much more about, service to others and the routines and so forth. But the way that I can sometimes utilize that creativity is to do it in a way that is of service to others and has a kind of a schedule, and therefore we have something like this channel. So it's just to give you an example. So it's using spiritual ideas and the inspiration of creativity, but putting it within the routines to make it work and to get it unstuck, because that's sort of what it feels like to me. It feels like this secret, this hidden knowledge, is how to utilize your creativity as a kind of inspirational energy. 5th house type things. Could also be love. I mean, 5th house isn't just creativity, it's also love. So it could be the spiritual connection, a spiritual love, or a love that is very different coming in, that is going to make you look at things differently and get you outside of your routine. Or it's about how you use this energy within the context of your routine so that you no longer feel stuck or that you're sacrificing what you really want to do. So I think that there's something here about a different perspective coming unblocked in some way. mixing, because the fifth house and the sixth house, if you look at the fifth house as creativity, it's very kind of fast moving, it's free, it's liberating all the energies that creativity is. And then the sixth house is routine. It's what we do day to day. It's the disciplines that we have in many ways. So there's something about the balance of both of those, not being too fast and not being too slow. I suddenly had a flash of, Goldilocks and the three bears, like this bed's too small, this bed's too large, this bed is just right. It's sort of like getting that balance right. So it could be something in that. How do you do that? It could also be, how do you get unstuck from feeling that you're kind of in a rut and be more creative? So it'll look at what we get spiritually and materially around this. The tarot will tell us more. So let's firstly look at a little bit more about the secret that's being revealed, both from I'm going to read it both from a spiritual and from a material sort of perspective. Then we're going to look at what has brought this to you now, this secret to you now. Is this your destiny? Is it past actions? Is it something you've been working towards? Is it karma? That kind of thing. How much is internally driven? How much is externally driven? And lastly, we'll have a look at what's this meant to uncover for you, because when we get hidden knowledge or a secret revealed, you're meant to be able to do something with it. So firstly, let's see a little bit more about the nature of this knowledge, this hidden knowledge, this secret that's being revealed. Knight of Cups. Oh, okay. The fifth house is creativity. There could be a creative approach to it, but I think the energy is more around love. Nine of Cups, Nine of Swords reversed, Three of Cups reversed, the Hermit. Okay, all right. So there is a very strong love and emotional thing for this. So I would be taking the fifth house matters as being more around love and romance and that kind of thing. But it may be, what are the sacrifices? It may be, I have to say, looking at these with the Three of Cups reversed, Nine of Swords reversed, and the Hermit, there could be a third party associated with it. I'm going to read this materially first because it's the first thing that's really jumping out at me, and then I'll talk about it spiritually. Materially, this looks to me like there is a potential love coming in or has come in. It will meet all your sort of dreams in many ways. Like it's kind of feels perfect, but there's some sort of guilt or issue. There's a third party involved, and either you or your person has therefore withdrawn, or it's kept, like it's almost like it's celibate because of a third party or the complexity of other parties involved. So I think if this, to be frank, on a material level, if that's how it's playing out for you, that when you've come to this reading, I think that there's like a love triangle either that you're in at the moment or is coming in. And I think it is meant to make you understand, what would you shift in your routines, or what would your partner shift in their routines to be together or to accept that you can't be together? So it almost feels as though either you or another party have a commitment already. That's what it feels like. And it's like, what does this mean? Because this is a very significant connection. And then if we take it to spirituality, it could be very significant. It could be marrying the two together. You could have a very strong karmic, soul twin type energy with this person, but the routines and the structure of your life in some way. I mean, it doesn't have to be that you're with someone else. It could be that you have like other, you're kind of living with your family and you're looking after aging parents or something like that. There's other people associated with this that is making it hard to take it from the spiritual connection into the material. People who consider they have a twin flame, this could very much pick this up, because there's usually a bit of a barrier or a thing that you've got to get past with twin flames. And this would be something about the existing structures and commitments in life. It could be also very materially that you've met someone at work, because sixth house is that, and the work, doesn't like people to have relationships, between their employees or whatever. So there's an impediment and there's a question about whether to come forward. But if it's spiritual beyond a sort of twin flame soul thing, then this is, I think, a genuine quest for where is your heart. This is a mystic's journey, actually. Like if this is spiritual, this is you tuning into your inner mystic, because the mystic sees the divine as the ideal and as the beloved and wants to merge with that. That's why we have dark night of the soul. I've said this a few times on my channel. People use that term almost just as, oh, I'm a bit depressed and I think it might be spiritual. But the reality is the dark night of the soul is based on a poem by St. John of the Cross, and it is about him describing the mystic's sort of melancholy in loving the divine almost as a beloved, but never being able to fully merge while you're in the material world. So that there's a very strong energy here of the passion, the spiritual connection, the spiritual illumination, where the heart is, but the disconnection, because one is, it's almost like you are of a different stuff because you are human. So this is either you understanding yourself as a true mystic and what that means, and what that means for your choices about relationships. And it doesn't mean you can't be in a relationship, by the way, but it's an interesting dynamic within one. Or this is about a relationship, and it's one that has the complicating factors of others being involved. So let's see what brings this to you now. Like I'm going to have a look at like whether or not it looks like it's part of your major life cycle, maybe karmically or whatever. I'm going to look at whether it's being instigated by other people around you or whether it's coming from internal work. And so major arcana is largely going to be either past life, karmic, this is your spiritual pathway type of stuff, and externally driven in that way. Court cards are going to be other people, and though sometimes it'll be aspects of you as well. And then minor arcana is going to be you. So what is bringing this secret to the surface at this point? Ten of Swords reversed, Knight of Swords, Death card, Four of Pentacles reversed, Page of Wands. Okay, yeah, see, we've got two people. There's at least two people associated with this. Even if it was at its most mystical and you've joined some sort of spiritual group to follow your mystical pathway, to follow a magical pathway or something like that, there's at least two people involved in this. And there is a kind of almost a pure ascetic righteous energy with one, and then there is a suppressed passion energy with another. So, and it may be bringing that out in you as well too. Like you're trying to kind of balance this aha moment about where your heart exists and how that mixes with the routines of day-to-day life and being in this earth, and that kind of thing. It's the righteous ascetic path versus the passionate path. And at the moment there is more of a sacrifice energy towards the ascetic if this is spiritual. It is a major decision for you. So I would say other people in some way is going to trigger this, even if it is at its most spiritual level, whether it's spirit guides or other people, but there is an external force operating here. It is saying it is time to make a decision. It may be a decision between the heart and the commitment in some way, but that point has come. Now the Death card, you do have time to do that. You don't have to instantly do it. But at some point, this is a major transition, and there's been something that was quite dramatic. It could be a dramatic attraction. It could be a dramatic download, channeling, or whatever. It could have, in fact, been many people will come to a mystical path after a real reversal in life, in the routines of their life. Losing a job, losing the love of their life on one level or another, or whatever it might be. A crisis will often do it, and it does look like a crisis precipitated it, but it is past. The crisis is past, but you are left with this either on a very profound spiritual level, almost a renunciation of the material, and and a renunciation of the passions and the ambitions in the material, and I'm going to follow this sort of spiritual path because that's who I am. Or it is in a relationship, there is something material that has to dissolve in a way to be able to make the right choice between, as I say, almost the ascetic, hermit, sacrifice energy or the connection with the other. So this is a pretty profound time for you. So now this secret has been uncovered and you kind of know that dynamic is there. What is that meant to bring into your life? The Empress, the Page of Swords reversed, the Emperor reversed. Oh, wow. Okay. The Two of Cups reversed. Oh, my goodness. This feels very much like even if it is because of like a major spiritual aha moment, or whether it's because of other people involved in some way, or even a separation of the energy from a long-term relationship, it's time to transition and look for new love. Whatever it is, this does feel like the breaking up of some connection, whether it's a work connection or a relationship that's in place or whatever, because it's necessary for growth, whether it's spiritual or otherwise. And when you realize this and you start, it's going to bring to the surface where there's been miscommunication and where, in a sense, a connection is not right. So I do feel for you or for the other person, I feel like if this is about a relationship, there actually is a good one, but I don't think you're in it at the moment for whatever reason. And it could be because you're with someone and that you have to reconcile and move away from that. Or it could be that the other person is. Or it could just be that you're in such different worlds, or there's a work thing going on. But there's something like that. This is really quite powerful. I think you'll know if this is you or not. And if this is spiritual, then you have probably, in a way, focused on what I would almost call more the masculine side, the divine masculine side of spirituality. Understanding this and seeing it as a mystical love connection with the divine brings out the feminine side of it more for you, and makes it less about talk and more about establishing the heart connection. So I feel like if this is you, if you're moving into a mystical tradition, either on your own or in a group, you are leaving behind old established patterns of like rituals and so forth that you might do, in an established church or whatever, for something that is more personal. Okay, so let's have a look at it. We're going to look at it both as a mystical and as an everyday thing with a couple of oracle decks for some more information about what mystical energy and everyday energy are you now understanding better with this secret to reveal. So let's look firstly at kind of the mystical or magical elements. Ascension. Okay, yeah, this is very mystical. Even if it's a relationship, there's a very strong mystical energy here. And it may be about you and another person who are a better connection to ascend or to help other people ascend. So there's a kind of twin flamey energy to this, I have to say. And higher self. Yeah, that's the hermit, the hanged man. This is very much in the material world. It has material world implications and the routines of all these things. But I think it's breaking free of routines and as I say, almost the rhetoric and moving into the true connection. That's what this is meant to be. But it's not necessarily easy because there are other people associated with it. Let's see the everyday energy then for each of those. So around ascension, around that concept of spiritual development, the secret, the stars, okay. Shooting for the stars, heading upwards. This is about heading upwards. This is about heading into the celestial realms. It's about mysticism, all that kind of thing. But it's also, I'm getting a couple of things. Firstly, it's also kind of finding the one, the star, who's the star in your life. But I'm also getting shooting stars. So for some of you, the window of opportunity for this decision on a practical level is quite narrow. So I think you'll know if that's the case. It's not going to be for everyone, but shooting stars came up for some. What about the material thing around the higher self and what you're realizing from that? The tattoo, okay, it's like, how are you presenting yourself? How would you define yourself if you were to do it visually? So it's kind of like this is a self-definition exercise we're looking at here, but it's also in communication with other people. So some of you, this may also be, actually I'm getting, this is a very specific thing because this goes back to the creativity thing here, but there's still a lot of heart here. But for some of you, this is actually you understanding what it would take to become a star, to become more elevated in some way, to be really known for yourself. And what is that? And to move outside of the routine into something that's more creative. But there are lots of other people involved in this, and there's lots of choices about how to communicate that's really important to make that creativity work. So it's very specific. Again, it's not going to be everybody, but like there's just with those two cards coming up as some of the energy and some part of the secret for you, understanding that how you present yourself is important, understanding you're meant to be shooting for the stars. that could be operating for some of you as well. So if you're very much connected to the creativity at the beginning, there still seems to be love associated with all of this, but that could also be love of the creative and so forth. Okay, so let's have a look at signs that you could see like in dreams or meditation, because again, we're looking at accessing this knowledge probably primarily through spiritual means, through dreams, through meditation, through shamanic journeying, things like that. So I'm just going to look at signs to tell you that you're on the right track in understanding this secret and that its implications are unfolding. So firstly, around the ascension energy, we have spider. Karma, destiny. Yeah, there's definitely something karmic and destined around this. Intuition. Pay attention to your intuition. Well, we know, that you're strongly intuitive. Mystery, vision, creativity. I feel that there is something there is a creative approach to this. Even though I do think that a lot of fifth house stuff there is also about love, there is a creative energy to this. But if you dream of spiders, if you see spiders or whatever, pay attention to that. Pay attention to what's going on, what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, the spiritual energy around you. What about the higher self wanting you to be able to define and present yourself as your true self, which is what I think those two put together are about. Beach. Growth, cleansing, gaining awareness, seeking relaxation. This may be partly this energy too, because growth, we had the Empress. So, there is a sense of growth, abundance, all that kind of thing. Maybe the Page of Swords reversed and the Emperor reversed is clearing away things that are very material, very mundane, taking a bit of time out to do this. Relax a bit, relax into this. This is kind of big, and so it's for the long haul. But like, again, if you dream about being on a beach, if you see sort of posters about being on a beach, if you hear songs about a beach, pay attention to that as well. I'll also get you a couple of planetary pairings just to see the energies, and I think this is across the board, which will also propel you towards fully realizing and using this hidden knowledge or hidden secret. Firstly, we have Saturn and Chiron. Yeah, this is very, I do think for some of you, it's highly mystical and highly ascetic. Like, it's like those two together, it's sort of like the kind of discipline and the kind of ascetic, almost monk-like feeling with the Hermit over here with Chiron. It could also be healing that. It could be that you are emerging from a period of time where you've been like that. You felt like you were living like a monk and following that spiritual path, but you've got blocked in the routine, and love or passion, spiritually or otherwise, is coming in. But there is something about healing that, healing the rules and the structures of your life. And Moon and Jupiter, and then opening up and growing emotional energy in a positive way. You feel to me like you've been very, not necessarily buttoned down, but you have very strong ethics. You have a very strong sense of like what is right and wrong, and you really do live by that. But it may have got you stuck and may have got you in routines, and like this is to break free and heal from some of those so that you can emotionally expand and you meet the mystical level, or meet the love of your life, or if you've met the love of your life, work out whether you can be together, that kind of energy. So it's meant to be emotionally expansive, and it's meant to heal those limitations. So it's not really meant, even if you are meant to be a mystic, you're also meant to be in the world, I think, and having relationships with people and connecting, so that it's not as painful as it can be to be a very lone mystic. Okay, let's get you a couple of guides for this hidden knowledge, this hidden secret. Psyche. Yeah, it's all about kind of inspiration, like a lot of inspiration coming in, and how you think about things. But remember, Psyche had a relationship with Eros. There is something here about your belief structure and then your passion. So Psyche is going to help you with that. And Borealis. So Borealis, I think, is what I'm saying, this ascetic sort of feeling that's there, because this is a very wintry sort of deity. And it calls for resilience. It calls for stoicism. So you have that, but I think this is meant to heal. I think Borealis is to say that is part of your spiritual strength is your stoicism, is your resilience, is your capacity to, as I say, sometimes be alone, be celibate or whatever it is. And not everybody who comes to this reading will it be as precise as that, but if there has been a cold period, or if you feel a cold period when you're wanting to move towards the warmth, then this is to bring you the strength. But Psyche is to bring you the ideas and the inspiration to cross that bridge, to get the balance between these two things, to break the block, basically. Okay, so just to finish off, we're just going to get you a magical sigil just to bring it all together. So what is the magical sigil that protects you or gives you more information about this hidden secret, which I think is about your innate mystical tendency and how that's playing out in the world and the choices that are associated with that. Blessings, good fortune, divine gifts, and all the best things. Yeah, I think that you deserve that. I think you've been very, very spiritual. That's what I'm saying. I think that you have been very ethical, very spiritually attuned, all of those things. And you will continue to be that. That will bring blessings. But I think the real secret here is that it's not an either or. That was what that was really saying at the beginning. It's not just the stoic routine that keeps you away from the heart and creativity and joy. It's both. It's how do you connect those two, because you're meant to have the blessings of love, creativity, self-expression, all of that kind of thing as well. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 1. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the Gothic Dawn Tarot, which in itself told me this was going to be pretty serious. And then when the Justice card came out, even more so. This is definitely a secret or hidden knowledge to do with something that brings justice and brings order into balance. I also felt very strongly when I saw that of the goddess Maat from Egypt, who weighs the heart against a feather, when we pass on. And so it's interesting. I didn't know what these cards were, but it's interesting that one of them is the South Node Life Stats. So I feel as though there is something in this hidden knowledge for you, which is that what is going on at the moment is to bring justice over some karmic issue. Now, whether or not it's a karmic issue where you had a debt and you are now balancing that, and this secret is how to do it, or whether and it's got to do with how you express yourself, how you're seen in the world, or even something physical potentially with the first house. That's one issue where you can sort of realize something was bringing things into balance along those lines. So it's either you are now at a point where you can resolve and let go some karma and bring things into balance, or you actually have something that was done to you and you are now in a position to very publicly process that. So if you are in the middle of some sort of legal dispute or some sort of PR dispute or something like that, you are on the side of right, I think, and you will be able to deal with that, and then you'll be able to let it go. Though we'll see what the cards say. The cards may say it's a little bit more grey, black, not as black and white, a little bit more grey. So we'll see where that falls. But this has got something to do with past life energy, but also how it's playing out in some sort of either intellectual balance, that's one thing with justice, or literally legal matters in some way, things that have to do, legal or power matters in some way. And there is something about your expression and you as a very strong personality, a figurehead of this in some way, or how you're expressing things physically to do this. So another thing I'm getting, and again, this is going to be very specific, so don't try and feel into this if it isn't you. But one way of reading this, when the body, if we're really looking at the body, and then with justice bringing things into balance and karma, you may be someone who has been born in a male or female body, and you feel in fact that that's the wrong body for you. So it may be that karmically you were much more likely to be the other gender in other lives. So this is you coming to terms with that and working out what to do with that and make those choices. So as I say, that's very, very specific. But the fact that this particular deck really talks about the first house as the body, and that is part of what the first house is. It is like, what do you look like physically? But it's also how you're presenting yourself to the world and all that kind of thing. And then the South Node is things that we're moving away from. So there's a change in bringing things into balance on a very, a very material level, I'm getting. For some of you, it may be moving away from some old physical routines, diet or something like that, to bring your system more into balance, and that would then be reflected in your physicality. So we'll see. There's a number of things that it could be. What we're going to do is we're going to use the tarot. We're going to look firstly at what this is. So we get a bit more of an idea about what is the hidden knowledge. And I'm going to read it both as a material secret that's revealed and as a spiritual secret that's being revealed. Then we're going to have a look at why that has come in, like what is prompting it. Why are you learning about it? Who's involved? Is it just you? Is it others? Is it your kind of destiny or your karma? We already know your karma is associated with that, so that may or may not be emphasized at that point in the reading, but it's part of it. And then we're going to look at what will happen now that this secret is revealed, or this prods you to revealing the secret, depending upon where you're up to with it. So let's just get a little bit more of an idea about the hidden knowledge or secret that's involved in this for you. Queen of Wands, Three of Pentacles, High Priestess reversed, King of Cups, Six of Wands reversed. Okay, all right. So I might read this materially first, because that's the first thing that's jumping out at me, but then we will talk about the spiritual. I think that this is you. I think this is about your career, your vocation, rather than love. There is a possibility with the Queen of Wands and the King of Cups, this could be about love, and I'm not talking about gender there. I'm just talking about two court cards of the grown-up court cards, so to speak. But I think this is more around career, how you're seen in the world, and this is why the first house is so important. This looks to me as though what is coming, if you haven't already seen this, is going to come to the surface. You had some sort of collaboration, you have friends, you have people that you were working with, and you were bringing a large part of this. You were almost, as I say, it feels like you were literally the face of something, but you were working with other people. And what is going to come up is that because there is a hidden secret that's coming up. There's something about this collaboration. I think you're going to find that someone out of that group was taking more credit or trying to make it about them, because this looks as though you aren't getting the recognition you should be getting, that this is a disappointing thing. So either this has happened, like you've had some sort of collaboration and somebody's kind of stolen the credit or taken the limelight from your thing, and you were meant to have it. And so therefore this is about bringing this into balance, and you will walk away from this collaboration and these people after it. So I think there could be that, and it could be playing out legally because you really didn't get what you were meant to get, or there's someone you're working with who felt you took too much and they're actually trying to fight you. But either way, there is actually something coming up to the surface on a material level, in your workplace, in a business, in a creative collaboration, whatever it is. But you are meant to be a figurehead here. But there is sort of like someone potentially in the group with an equally strong sort of energy. It's just a bit more emotional. You're a bit more creative. That is probably competing with you. And I would say this person you knew in a past life because of the karmic energy, or this is a pattern that's happened to you in a past life. Because if you are a Queen of Wands type, you may be a very vibrant, charismatic person, very sure of yourself. You probably were like that even when you were really young. And that can create these patterns because people are drawn to you. They're drawn to your ideas, your originality, your confidence, and then they will often compete with you once they connect with you. So this could be a pattern you get quite often. And again, it's like this is meant to let you understand what that means so that you can move away from it, because you are meant to move away from it and then bring things into more fairness. It may be that if that's the case, that you need to be more of a solo operator and not a collaborator, just because of the strength of how that is playing out. Now, if this is spiritual, then this feels like literally the opportunity to learn something in the mysteries, being with others who could maybe teach you, even having a mentor. But there is something here. If that happens, there is something about you've known this person before, and there is some kind of karma that needs to be sorted out between you. So it's still having an issue with someone, but on a spiritual level, it would feel like joining a group or connecting with others to learn more about the mysteries in some way. And maybe this rectifies when you knew it before and you weren't recognized. Otherwise, there's maybe a mentor who, in fact, won't want to recognize you, will compete with you. So there's an energy around that, knowing that. So it doesn't mean don't go and learn the stuff. It just means understand some of the dynamics that are going on. So Let's ask why this secret is being revealed to you now. Now, in this, I'm going to be looking both at what the classic meaning of the cards are, but I'm also going to be looking at the balance of major arcana, which will tell me this is about major life path things for you and potentially karmic, though we always know that it is karmic for you already. I will be looking at court cards, which are generally indications of other people being involved. We probably already know, again, that there's other people involved, but this is really called a why it's happening. So again, it would be maybe confirmation, if that's the case, of someone that you have a karmic connection with. But it can be aspects of yourself as well. But like primarily in the way I read this, it's other people being involved. And then minor arcana is your own work, your own energies and so forth. So let's see what the balance of that is. Why is this hidden secret being revealed now? 7 of Wands, 5 of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles reversed, 7 of Pentacles. Wow, yeah, this is very much within you. Yeah, there are other people involved because we've already established that, and there is karmic. So it's Spirit saying, we've already established that, so we don't have to worry about that. But this is really for you to know. This is about you. The justice here is about you. This is why I have first house, you coming into who you are and understanding the impact of your energy and what you need to do about it. And the first card straight out of the gate is competition. So you are going to be met with competition, and you are going to feel isolated quite often. Sometimes the things that you want to do, if you don't understand this dynamic, this is coming to you so you understand the dynamic and you don't try and go too much in the collaboration, because this is what you are meant to bring forward is very much yours. Sometimes, if you just feel isolated, then something that could really grow won't grow. And it's kind of like the two aces are kind of suppressed. So this is saying that maybe because of karmic stuff before, where you had the inspiration, the power, the energy, spiritually, creatively, whatever it is, this is replicating again. This is like failure to lift, and it doesn't mean that you won't now. This is coming to you so that you know what's going on, so that you can, because you are meant to grow what you want to do. You can do it, but you need to do it on your own, because the competition energy around you is too toxic. And some of it is karmic, I think. But I think it is also, there's something about your energy. And I have seen people like this who people link with, as I say, because of their charisma, because of their creativity, all that. And then they actually start to say, oh, I'm that and more, like that. Like the association at first is the thing that makes them feel good and makes them want to connect. And then they can only feel good if they claim to be more than that person. This is a pattern that you've had to deal with. And this is meant to let you know that pattern so you understand how to put some boundaries around. Okay, so then now that you know this, what are you meant to do with this uncovered piece of information? And spiritually, this is your journey. That's why we've got the first house. On a spiritual level, again, it's like, if you're going to go and learn something spiritually, go and learn it, but then go on your own path, because that's the way it grows. If you try and bring in something new and your own way of doing your own flavor into this group or whatever, it's just going to be squashed because of competition. Makes me think of magical orders, actually, and the stories that they said, about all the debates in the Golden Dawn and all that kind of thing back in the day. So anyway, let's see what you're meant to do now that this is uncovered. Page of Cups reversed, Page of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, Page of Swords. Okay, all right. Don't feel hurt by this. It has been hurtful, I would say. What's been going on has been hurtful. It's very unfair, and that's why we have justice, like whatever it is. And for some of you, it may literally have played out on a material level as somebody taking some IP or something like that. But it's saying don't worry about the emotion of it, because once you understand the dynamic of it, you'll realize that the people who are doing this are kind of like vampiric. They're not people to really want to be too connected with. So don't let it hurt you. What you're meant to do is really focus on what's your message and what do you want to materially bring into being. Then you'll move very fast. It's you planning. It's you being the one who has the communication, not other people judging you, not other people, like trying to be the figurehead or something. You're meant to do this. So like what you should be focusing on at the moment is not the feeling around things. Focus on the communication and the logistics and what you want to do, because you'll move very quickly now that you know what was holding you back. And now that you know what you want to clear, because this has happened to you before in other lives. And Spirit's saying, no more, no more. You need to know about this, and you need to focus on you, like the first house, your dream of what it's going to be, your communication. And it will be very creative, and it will flow really, really well. So let's have a look at the sort of magical energy of this and the everyday energy of it, just for a little bit more around the hidden secret, a little bit more about the mystery of how this came to be. So magically, we firstly have Ascension. That's interesting. That came up for another one. This is about you and your path. But I think it's also a bit of a hint that maybe whether it's this is all about a mystical path you're following and you're with others, or what you've done in the past, I think you've looked to help others. I think you've been very much the rising tide raises all boats sort of person. But this is telling you for you, because of the power of your energy and the way that people respond to that, you really have to look after your own pathway. Others can emulate, but let them do it at a distance, because otherwise it's going to weigh you down or it's going to hurt you. So it's important to know that. And the other sort of magical energy around it, release. Yeah, this is all meant to release the patterns, release the past. This has happened to you a lot. It must feel very familiar when it happens. Okay, so what does that mean on an everyday level? So around the ascension, around clearing your own pathway to ascend, taking responsibility for that, but not being so much the shepherd for everybody else. The storm, okay, yeah, that's where the storm's occurring. And there could be a response back. So if you were in a spiritual group learning the mysteries and you wanted to go out on your own and have your own thing, there's likely to be pushback. But don't worry about that. This is your ascension path. If this is around just people on a more day-to-day level where you've worked with people, you've connected with people, people have wanted inspiration from you, and you finally say, no, enough is enough, there could be a storm. So be aware that could occur. But if you focus on what you want to do, storms always pass. So don't let it hold you back. And storms also release. So what's the day-to-day energy of this secret for you? The snake, yeah, it's releasing the snakes. There are snakes around you. Sorry, there just are. Okay, so let's have a look at some signs that might tell you that either the storm is coming and the release is coming, and here's some snakes, or this is a snake to watch out for. So we're going to use dream imagery. So it could be things that come up in dreams. Pay attention to that. Could be just the feelings you have. It could be synchronicities. Like in this one with the snake, if you were around someone and whatever we have there, something synchronistically came up, then it might be an indication of, yeah, this is a confirmation this person's one of the problems, one of the ones that you maybe have karmic history with. So let's see firstly around ascension and the storm. So maybe as you decide that you're going to claim what is rightfully yours, when the storm is likely to come, the synchronicity is gold. Okay, power, prosperity, prestige, love. Like, yeah, people may try to keep you there through money. You might find that kind of thing is offered in some way. That's going to be up to you. I mean, maybe you could continue to have a connection that was more about, some things might be more material, and it's okay with the rest, but you need to decide whether or not it supports your ascension, your brand, really. But otherwise, people who are talking about money, people who are concerned about the material things, people who want to be the golden ones, people who want to shine, all of that kind of thing, may give you an indication synchronistically that this is coming. And what about releasing yourself from the snakes that have been around you? Pile 2. Bird. Okay, message, news, happiness, prosperity, flight, freedom here, like flight, freedom. Birds. So you may see birds. You may hear bird song. You may dream about birds the night before you see someone. If you're sitting at a cafe with someone and you're thinking they might be a snake and somebody walks past with birds on a t-shirt, that's a sign. So just pay attention for those sort of things. Winged messages in general, actually. So if it's not a bird, it might be a butterfly or something like that. So those are things to let you know. What are some of the astrological energies around this for you? Sun and Mercury. Yeah, you do shine. You're very smart. You shine, and how you communicate is very powerful. That's why they want you to be the one. You are meant to be the face of something, the figurehead of something. You're not meant to be just one of a group. And And like, but that is an issue and you've had to deal with that before. So it's just getting you to understand that this is your life path, your communication that we're talking about here. And Uranus and Neptune, like a breakthrough and inspiration that will come psychically, spiritually, or whatever. Plus, if you are looking into the mysteries, you have a very unique way of looking at it. And that could be a little bit triggering to some people, particularly to their sense of power or superiority. So you need to be aware that energy is going on. So let's get you a couple of guides to help you. Pangeo. He looks pretty fierce. And Zarathus. Okay, need to look these up because I wasn't as familiar with them. I want to go to Zarathus first because I think this is a core thing about why this is happening now, why this message is for you now. And then I want to go to Pangeo because I think it has to do with the energy that he was placed near. And I want to read you what it says about Pangeo. But what I will tell you about Zarathus is it is connected with Ceres. So there is a kind of a female energy, even though it's represented as a male, and a nurturing energy and a creation energy. But what it's really about is, the present, passing into the past, cannot be promised forever. It's saying moments are precious. This is a precious time. This is important. It's important to make the decisions that bring things into balance. So it says to encounter him means that you're either at the beginning or the end of a current cycle. So you might have, and it says you might have just survived a great deluge. So there's going to be a pushback, or there has been, and this is now you coming and rising above it. But you're now free to revel, celebrate, and find joy in a whole new world. Or it could be a warning that your celebrity will come to an end and you must prepare for great upheaval. Now, I think this is actually upheaval to allow you to be the celebrity. But there might have been, past life where you had a celebrity and it was stolen from you. So I think this is like bringing this into balance, but it's understanding that this is ending that old cycle. Then when we talk about Pangeo, this is representing the shaping of landscapes and continents. So we got the storm. It's often gradual, but sometimes cataclysmic. To encounter Pangeo is as awe-inspiring as it is terrifying. A beautiful vista, an earth slide, a mountaintop, an earthquake. These are powers which far exceed mankind's ability to resist. So this is very karmic. Sitting in the shadows of giants is humbling, but standing on their shoulders is uplifting. Climb the mountain, befriend the giant. You may not have the strength to defeat it, but you may be able to overcome it. Now, I don't think you actually have to defeat Pangeo. I think he's a guide for you. I think he's meant to help you rise above this. So there is something really cool to you. You're as a celebrity in some way. It doesn't have to be on the world stage, but who you are and how you present yourself and the knowledge and the skills and the creativity that you have draws people in, but it also then makes them compete with you. This is a pattern that's gone on over and over. You're probably dealing with people at the moment from past lives in this. This is the time to break that, to understand it and break it. So to close out the reading, we're just going to get you a sigil blessing. Manifestation. Yes, you bring in what you want. Turning your thoughts and words into reality. Thoughts and words into reality. Thoughts and words into reality. This is what this is about. You are able to do this. The hidden knowledge is to know that you are able to do this in a very unique and different way and very much as a part of you. And others have tried to kind of feed off that or compete with it, but it's time for you. Your time is now, Pile 2. That's what this is about. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the Fool with the Nightshade Tarot. And the Fool to me is always about new adventures, new beginnings. So this hidden knowledge is about a new adventure, or is to give you the directions and navigation on a new adventure or a new venture. Either that, or there's a kind of a thing of getting of wisdom energy associated with the Fool, because the Fool's journey is the getting of wisdom. When we look at the astrology energies with this, we have Mars, force. Mars is about action. Mars is about passion. Mars is about ambition. So there is something very much here about what is your core motivation. What is the motivation for this new adventure, this new thing to do? And then seventh house partners tells me that you will find people along the way to connect with and work with. Now, part of the hidden knowledge that might be revealed to you here now is who to trust and who not to trust. On the other hand, it might be that you can only really bring about what you want in this new venture if you connect with others. What I do think, I mean, the Fool always has a dog with them, but usually in most packs, the dog, most tarot decks, the dog is kind of trying to stop the Fool. I don't feel that's the case with this dog. I feel like this is a sense, and when I look at dogs, and Lenormand and other things like that, it's a loyal companion. So I feel as though there is going to be someone, if you don't already know who this is, who is heading in the same direction as you. The other thing that I think is interesting is that Mars heads in the direction going to the future. There's something about the past. So for all that this is a new adventure, it is an understanding of the past is the thing that's motivated in some way. So it's almost more like what I would think of as the Fool reversed. So I think this is less about naivety and innocence and more about a very focused, collaborative energy moving forward. Now, on a spiritual level, it could be with a spirit guide, or it could be finding the right partner, love or otherwise, for something to do a spiritual thing. So they're looking to the past is understanding the spiritual implications, and almost like for prophecy, you need to understand the past before you can see the future. So there could be that kind of element going on before you enact the action of Mars. But otherwise, I feel like there's a lot of passion, a lot of connection, either in love or just in business or creativity or whatever. And it's about something that you're meant to do with others. So that's the kind of nature of the hidden knowledge or secret, and how much has to be learnt, I guess, and how much you already know and you can remember with the way that Fool is oriented. Now, we're going to start with looking with tarot about a bit more about what this hidden knowledge is. So we get a bit more of an idea about what is the new thing that does have something to do with the past, that has passion and will connect you with others that you need to know about spiritually and materially. And we'll look at it from both a spiritual and material viewpoint. Then we'll have a look at why now. And I'm going to read the cards both classically, but also if they're a major arcana, it's telling me that it has to do with a major part of your life path, soul purpose in this life, and or karmically. If there are court cards, it's showing other people involved that you need to be aware of, and in part, like why this hidden knowledge now, why this secret now. And if there's minor arcana cards, it has a lot to do with you internally. And then we're also going to have a look at what do you do now that the hidden secret has been revealed? What are you meant to do with that information? So firstly, a little bit more about the secret itself. 3 of Wands, 8 of Wands reversed, Page of Wands reversed, Ace of Wands reversed, Wheel of Fortune, the Emperor. Okay, very strong Mars energy here, actually, and fire energy. Because, like Mars is a very fiery sort of planet, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Wands cards. And we've got the Emperor, which is very Aries, very Mars energy as well. What this is telling me is this is about moving towards some form of sovereignty or some form of material outcome, that, like moving into a leadership role, doing your own business, something like that. The time is right. This is what I'm saying. The time is right, but there's been, and you know what you want to do. You've got the vision, but something is blocking it. So this is all about letting you know what's blocking it and why. And it may be about finding a partner this will be to work with. Maybe that's what's necessary. Or it may be just you getting this sort of sense that it's okay to take that risk and the right people are going to come along, because like the Ace of Wands wants to be a blessing, wants to be the very Mars-like rush of energy and ambition. Page of Wands, you've already got a pretty good idea what you'd really want to create here, what you want this new venture to be. And 8 of Wands, you want to take the foot off the brakes, but the foot is very firmly on the brakes at the moment. This is why this hidden knowledge is wanting to be revealed to you. It's wanting to say this is the right time and it is going to succeed. So yes, it's a risk with the Fool, but the right people are going to be around you, and you've just got to kind of like get out of your own way and move forward. This is what the secret is. And spiritually, it's like unlocking your capacity to channel creatively, because energy and information wants to come to you now to give you the direction that you're meant to follow to be who you're meant to be in terms of your own personal sovereignty in the world. Okay, so given that, let's have a look at why now in that way that I was saying, that I'm going to look at the cards. Four of Swords reversed, Page of Pentacles, Three of Swords reversed, Justice, Seven of Wands reversed. Okay. There is another person. I feel like the collaborator with you, it might be a helper rather than sort of someone who is by necessity an equal, with it being Page of Pentacles. Though, one could argue Page of Wands, Page of Pentacles, you're both kind of at the same sort of level. But one is you're the creative energy here, and the other is kind of the planning, the business planning, for want of a better word. So there is sort of there is a possibility to connect with someone who either, as I say, does that work for you in a kind of subordinate sort of role in whatever way this is playing out, or they're at the same sort of level as you. It's just it's the two things, the creative force with the material acumen coming together in some way. So that's there. And it almost looks like, I'm going to look at this very materially, and then I will talk about it spiritually, but it has a very strong material thing. This looks to me like this is a point in your life where the legalities of things, the ownership of things is important, and the fairness of things, but you may have actually like lost a job or missed out on a contract or something like that. And that might be what's making you a bit hesitant to move forward with an idea, because at the moment, what is trying to be revealed to you is you don't need to worry so much. You can be brave, like you have the good idea and everything. It's like, but something that's happened before, either in this life or possibly in another, with a major arcana card, though I feel like it's more in this life and probably fairly recent, is making you a little bit careful about what you do. But it's time to come out with your idea. It's time to get going. And if you haven't already met someone, it's almost like you could like manifest that into being. You could draw that into being spiritually. Certainly spiritually, if this is about you connecting in with your purpose spiritually and what you're meant to lead in the world in a way, this is saying that spiritually you could connect in with sort of like spirit guides that are around justice and around the right use of power, the right use of energy and creativity, and reconnect, like maybe even reconnect with a spirit guide like that who's going to help you with the confidence and bring the right sort of people into your life. But it does feel like the spiritual side of this and the spiritual knowledge is to understand your creative energy is what you are meant to be bringing to the world. And if, like, in collaboration with others can do the business side of things. Maybe somebody else can do the PR or whatever. But whatever it is, you're meant to be a creative, ambitious force, and you're meant to lead out on something. And it's like to encourage you to have the confidence to do that. So if you accept what is being said here, and I think for you that's a bit of a jump because I think you are really cautious, but I think this energy is coming through really strongly. But if you accept this hidden knowledge is there, that this is what you're meant to do, and you focus on the past, not to relive the pain, but to understand it so that you know what to avoid in the future so that you can move more swiftly towards a good goal. What is meant to come out of this for you? King of Wands reversed, Six of Cups, Ten of Swords, Nine of Wands. Okay, you're getting across the finish line, I'm saying. This looks like whatever made you sort of feel less than or not able to do it came from very young. This looks like maybe something from your father or a kind of male figure that was very competitive. Could have been a sibling as well. But there's something very young. You're meant to kind of like understand that patterning came very early. But that was sort of like, it was kind of competition that wasn't real competition. It was belief structures that weren't real. And it was not really understanding you and what you were bringing to things. So that's the end. This is meant to be the end of that so that you can get across the finish line with what you do. It's meant, like, the big hidden knowledge here is to give you that confidence boost to understand that what others have said that made you feel that your ideas weren't good enough, your creativity wasn't good enough or whatever, they're wrong. That's wrong. You've got to start to kind of back that, connect with people who can have a similar vision to you and not let these past issues, because there are past issues that are doing this, and I think some of it's from childhood and some of it's from other past lives, stop you. Because that energy was the misuse of power. You are meant to be a good use of power, and whatever the power is, spiritual, material, political, social, artistic, whatever it is. But like, I think you were almost born into a family where there was some sort of like rivalry with a parental figure, rivalry with siblings, narcissistic patterns or something like that, because this was meant to clear out the last of the energy karmically for you around that, so that you would actually take up the challenge and just go, this time I'm going to do it. Okay, so let's have a look at the spiritual, the kind of mystical energy around this for you, or mystical or magical energy around it. Firstly, we have banish. Yeah, banish the energies that stop you. Banish the things from the past that stop you. This far and no further. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move with what I want, and I'm going to bring the right people in for me. This is my place. This is my terrain. This is my land, whatever it might be. So being able to get rid of that sort of karmic and or early childhood stuff is part of what this is about for you, sort of magically and spiritually. And activation, yeah, so the activate. This is all about getting you going, pile 3, because you've got some great ideas and some great energy and great ambitions, and you're going to use it the right way. This is the thing to understand. The role models that you've had are not good, and they haven't been honest with you about you, because they're probably not honest with themselves. Let's see what the everyday energy is. So the everyday energy around banish. Endless scrolling. Okay. So I feel like with that is when one is constantly going through social media, constantly looking for other people's opinions. I think this is banish that. Banish the idea right now, pile 3, that other people's opinions are more valid than yours. Because they're not. Like one of the things, and I used to sort of talk about this, when I, talked about career and confidence and all that sort of stuff at work in the sort of job that I did before. One of the things I said is I think that we're kind of trained to think that the external view is more objective. It's always more objective. So if somebody judges us, they're always going to be more objective than us. But that's actually not true. Like, it's just their subjective opinion. So if you banish the concept that other people's opinions are the thing that you judge yourself by, and you come into your own power and your own sovereignty, you're not the sort of person with all this sort of, like, your main issue is to get confidence. You're not the sort of person who's going to suddenly turn from being worried about what other people think to suddenly being a narcissist. That's not going to happen with you, even if you've seen that pattern with others. This is like getting you to understand that you can make decisions yourself. We can be really using that justice energy, using like a very clear and fair thing. You can go, when somebody criticizes me, I can genuinely look at that and work out whether it's true and it's something I can learn and grow from, or whether it's them projecting stuff on me. When someone praises me, I can look at it and go, is that true? In which case I'll own it. If it's not, I'm not going to give that person power by me wanting their good opinion. So there's something here about banishing the need for the good opinion of others, and making those decisions for yourself, so that then you can activate. So the energy around that on an everyday level or material level. Squad goals. Okay, yeah, then you'll find the right people. You are meant to find a team. Like, this is the thing that's interesting. You're not meant to, you don't have to do all this on your own. You probably would be the leader of the squad actually in this, but even that doesn't matter that much. What is being promised here is good connections, but it's like letting go of the connections that were holding you back and activating, drawing in the connections that would be good. And I do think you've probably got one good friend or something like that, somebody to listen to around that, who's not going to be judging you. You're not going to feel the need to banish them. And that kind of almost gives you a prototype for what to activate and draw in more generally. Okay, let's see some signs. So these could be signs that you see in dreams. It could be synchronistic. It could be something you see in meditation or shamanic journeying or whatever. But they're just things that will tell you, one, where you've highlighted when it's a sign that'll come up when you're around someone that you need to realize falls into this category, so that you can know to do it. And similarly over here, that you can activate a good connection. So we're really seeing almost the stop and go signs for who to connect with going forward. So the signs, synchronistically or otherwise, for you are around the stop, the banish energy is forest. Okay. Triggers, healing, shadow work. Yeah, if they trigger you, if they feel shadowy, if they make you kind of think you have to go and do shadow work, if they make you feel a bit lost and a bit frightened in some way, a bit disoriented, small, any of those things, you're going to know. It's not, if their opinions only make things darker and harder to navigate for you, then you know. So I think that's pretty clear. But, if you hear, I don't know, the Cure song in a forest or you dream about forests or you see, a picture of a forest in a cafe when you're talking about someone or something like that, just pay attention to it synchronistically. So on the other side, where it's kind of go, where you're around the right sort of people, the sign there, okay, cow, motherhood, family, stability, prosperity. So I would say if there was a family thing, it's probably more on the father's side that there was an issue because we've got motherhood here. But like beyond that, it could be those who have a very maternal energy, very family oriented, stable people, people who are already prosperous who maybe want to work with you on your ideas. And if you feel peace and contentment, or as I say, if you dream about a cow, if you, see pictures of cows, if you meditate and a cow spirit comes to you, then ask it, like in that thing, ask it about the connections. But like I think largely synchronistically, this could help you find the right sort of people for you. Okay, let's also have a look at some astrology energy around this for you. Saturn and Chiron. It's interesting. That came up for one other. And there probably is a little bit of similarity between the two readings. I mean, they're a bit different, but there is a bit of a similarity as well. So there could be some of you who are coming to both, and that's fine. But again, there's something about a father figure that needs to be healed, or authority figures, so that you can take on your own authority. And Mercury and Uranus, yeah, it's like having the aha moment. You are very creative. You have lots of energy, lots of downloads, all that sort of stuff. That's what you're meant to be doing. And you can find other people who can do the other stuff. And that's a good collaboration rather than those who are wanting to tell you you're wrong so that they can, kind of dominate you in some way or make you fit their profile. So trust that you have a lot of like kind of channeling and downloads and so forth, and that like they're intelligent ones and they're ones that you can communicate. They're very precise, but they're very original as well. Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of guides for you as well. Lunara. So it's connecting with the moon, the mystery. So there is definitely a kind of like sort of download spiritually. So this is a spiritual thing. It's your spiritual creativity. It's your spiritual animus almost. It's your spirit, not animus because that's sort of like anti. It's the anima. It's to animate you. It's a spiritual animation. And Gaia. Okay. There's something about female energy is very good around this. Okay. So like masculine energy, you're meant to be coming into your divine masculine energy, what you would be sovereign in. That's why other masculine energy is probably the one you have to be really wary of. Now, that doesn't mean it's coming from men. It could be women and it's their masculine side. But be aware, it's the domination. It's the battle for domination that you have to be watching out for. But the guides for you are very female. There's very much the intuitive Neptunian and moon kind of psychic energy to illuminate things for you. And then you have Gaia to ground and manifest and to grow. And that is also, where we are in harmony with others. When we are in harmony with the environment and with others, when things are in balance. So those, and they're very feminine energies. So feminine, like the Mars energy for action, it's like the guides are bringing the Venus energy in a way, and moon energy, that kind of level of input for you. Okay, so just to finish off, so I just think this is a trust yourself. You're going to be able to find really good people to connect with, but you've probably had the wrong people up till now, and that's what's held you back. It's not a lack of ability. So trust yourself and move forward. And a sigil, magic, protection or blessing for you to bring it all together is success. Yeah, you're going to be successful obtaining what you have worked toward. You are going to get it. Like your spirit really wants you to know the big hidden knowledge here is that there's something you want to activate. There's something you want to do. You've been a bit worried about doing it because everybody's got an opinion and most of them are kind of really competitive or whatever. But you're meant to succeed with this and you will find the right people to make you succeed. But you've just got to tone down, turn the volume down on the white noise around it and activate the kind of sense of dynamism and going towards what you want, because you are going to get across the finish line. It's the time for it. So I hope that that resonates for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.